Hello, and thank you for joining us on the Digital and Online Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Alejandro Otero. Today, our guest is Miss Ke'Anna Skipwith. If you could please share a little bit about yourself with our listeners.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ke'Anna Skipwith, and I am the Director of Academic Innovation and Strategic Initiatives, as well as the Interim Executive Director for Digital and Online Learning at Howard University.
For our topic today, we're making these connections between our distance learners and our people in person on campus. Based on your experience, what transforms participation into a feeling of belonging in an online community?
When I think about belonging, I'll always come back to the idea that engagement isn't just about clicking through the content, it's about connection. According to Morrell's model of interaction, learning happens through three relationships: learner to learner to instructor, and learner to content. It's those learning moments when students collaborate on projects, exchange ideas in discussions, or respond to each other's reflections that transform a class into a community. Belonging grows when students feel seen, when they feel valued and supported, and when instructors maintain this consistent presence through feedback, encouraging messages, and peer engagement opportunities. I think that's where the learning actually happens for the students. So looking a bit closer at these three engagement types, it transforms how we can build community in an online course environment. Learner-to-learner engagement is the social and cognitive connection that happens when students interact. It's the heartbeat of any online course. When students work together on group projects, they share short video reflections, or connect through digital spaces, they begin to see themselves as part of something bigger, something larger, not just isolated learners behind a screen. Learner-to-instructor engagement is about the presence and guidance. In this format, the instructor's role becomes more than just the content. It's the coaching part, it's the motivating, it's supporting. When instructors communicate consistently with their students by providing timely feedback, setting clear expectation, students know that their instructors are there to walk alongside them in their online learning journey. And finally, learner-to-content engagement, that's the internal dialogue students have with themselves with the content. Maybe they're analyzing a reading or reflecting on a case study, or just even interacting with the multimedia or digital resources provided in the course. Good instructional design or course design makes content active, engaging, and even reflective. And this is what invites students to critically think and connect ideas to their real-world experiences. So together, whether it's peer, instructor, or the content, I believe it creates a balanced online ecosystem where the community and the student has that connection where they can truly thrive in any online learning environment.
Thinking about those different modes of interaction is key. And so, when we're thinking about online learning, how can our instructors intentionally design these courses so that they're not only delivering the content, but fostering that sense of connection and community for the learners?
You bring up a good point. Intentional design is the foundation of connection, and our learning models remind us that community develops when student, the instructor, and the course, it has to align. That means engagement doesn't happen by chance. We have to design it for a purpose. So let's look at the student factors. Every learner brings their traits, their experiences, their style into the online classroom environment. Some students who may be hesitant to speak up in person actually may find their voice in the online classroom because they have time to process, they have time to reflect before responding and engaging with their peers. Designing with that in mind means offering multiple ways to participate, from written reflections to video posts to even group collaborations, so that everyone feels included. Then there are the course factors, the content delivery, format, and even the tools that are being influenced in how the students are connecting with each other and with the content. A data-driven course might emphasize problem solving and peer review, while communications or ethics course might invite more storytelling and dialogue amongst the students. How the faculty adapt their strategies with their students' styles is the discipline that keeps the human connection at the center. Now, the third layer is the instructor factors. Each of us brings a unique teaching style and level of technology comfort in the online courses. A strong sense of teaching presence, whether it be through the weekly updates, personal check-ins, or just a simple encouragement, keeps students anchored and supported and even motivated to keep going with their online studies within the course. And here is where I think project-based and scenario-based learning really shine in the online learning environment. For example, in my book, Best Practices Engaging Online Learners, I describe how these approaches shape the social context of online learning. What is actually happening through the social connection with their peers, with their instructors, and even the learning and digital tools. Ultimately, these strategies turn engagement into community. When students work side by side with each other, when they reflect on their process and share their insights, I believe they move from individual learners to a collaborative community of practice. That's what connection looks like in the online classroom.
You know, one of the biggest challenges in online learning or distance learning, it often ends up being that sense of isolation learners can feel. What are some practical ways that instructors can bridge the gap, make students feel seen, supported, connected to their peers, and then the larger university community?
That sense of distance is something every online learner unfortunately has to face. One powerful way to bridge that gap is through peer and cooperative learning. While many assume teamwork is harder online, it actually creates unique opportunities for connection. There are 3 dimensions: effective, interactive, and cohesive. And it's how we express those emotions, how we can engage meaningfully and foster inclusion. We must intentionally build these into our online courses so we can turn that content that's being presented into a community learning environment. So here are a few simple ways to enhance social presence in the online classroom. Bring your personality into the course. Here in the digital age, many are using avatars or emojis in their announcements to make the space feel alive and human. Encourage students to introduce themselves, not just with text, but with photos or even a short video in their learning management systems. Use their names often, saying Alejandro. That's a great point. It makes a real difference in how students feel seen in their courses. Think about sharing non-graded announcements. Instead of talking about the due date and what's expected, share a video summary, articles that align with the content, or even inspiration that connects to a particular week's topic. Even think about integrating students' ideas into the content, their assignments, their high points into the lectures, as well as giving them opportunity to show that their contributions does matter. And most of all, just have fun with it. Include humor. Share some light moments that remind everyone that, we're real people, we have lives, things happen, and that we can move forward as one community. So these are just some simple actions to build trust, warmth, authenticity in the course environment. When students connect socially, cognitively, and even emotionally, I believe that digital distance starts to fade and true learning can really happen when they feel like they're just humans and they really want to connect with others in the course.
So we want to create these engaging communities of learners through our online courses. In what ways can AI tools or resources be used to help make these online courses more connected and engaging for learners?
AI is rapidly transforming how we think about teaching and learning. In fact, the field of AI in online education has been growing at an incredible pace, and it's reshaping what the future of online learning may look like. AI will never replace the human connection we bring, but it will absolutely redefine our roles. Today's AI tools are built on the principles of adaptive learning and personalized learning, where algorithms learn from student data and help predict what support each student may need. These systems can track student progress, give instructors actionable insight, and make it easier to identify who's struggling, who's thriving, and how to intervene in real time. Regarding personalized learning, these tools can help the instructors break down their courses, their lectures in particular, into small, bite-sized segments. They can rely on resources such as Notebook LM to summarize their readings, to generate quizzes and study guides, to help the students be more successful in completing their assignments and completing their exams. When we look at advances in AI using voice recognition, these are making the online classroom more inclusive and accessible than ever before. Beyond that, I believe AI is helping us build more equitable and reflective learning spaces for the online courses. Not just the algorithms that can just scan course content, but it can also flag biases or overly complex language, prompting the faculty or even students to refine materials for clarity and inclusion. And as AI tools evolve, they'll continue to complement the human touch, empowering instructors as well as students to focus on empathy, innovation, and meaningful student interaction. Some other tools you may know of that are being on the rise that I'll speak very briefly about, are incorporating, AI mentors, tutors. And these are systems just designed to support learners between what's going on in the live instruction classes versus the online environment. These tools provide the guidance that I talked about earlier, suggesting resources, and they can kind of respond to questions in real time, kind of taking a role where the AI can supplement the learning for the student, giving them space to reflect, to ask those questions, but also it can extend the classroom by going deeper and being a responsive learning effort for the students. So yes, AI can automate certain processes, but the real promise lies in how it enhances connection and the accessibility component. As we look ahead, the goal isn't to make online learning more automated. It's to make it more human through thoughtful integration of AI tools. It helps us reach every student regardless of background, location, ability, and it creates space for educators to do what we do best: inspire, connect, and build community. AI should help us design learning that is personal, inclusive, and deeply engaging, causing us to have a future where technology doesn't replace us, but it amplifies our impact in these online learning spaces.
Well, Ms. Skipwith, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Do you have any closing thoughts for our audience?
Yes, I would like to say that building online community isn't about adding more tools to the online learning environment. It's the focus about deepening our connection with each other, whether through active learning, thoughtful design, or emerging digital technologies. Our mission as people, as educators, remains the same: to help students feel that they belong, even when the classroom exists entirely online. That's my final words. Thank you for having me today.
Of course. Thank you, Ms. Skipwith, and thank you to our listeners. We really appreciate you joining us for this episode of the Digital and Online Learning Podcast.